Welcome again, Keepers of Light, and I call you that because you are just that, Keepers of Light. So I'm on here today, and I actually had a few downloads in between for the last couple of days, and this time around I didn't jot down notes. There are moments where I jot down notes when I feel as though okay, there's a concrete message coming through that I can kind of put together and then structure and, on the spot, just work with the themes and then be able to come out with a particular message. But this time around, it really just felt like there were so many elements. It was more so, I think, a way for me. Sometimes I receive information where I realize it's just for me to get more clarity versus for me to, necessarily be sharing, but that knowledge is going to help me in terms of sharing what it is that I'm going to be sharing. And I think that was what that was about. And today, I had planned to come on. Then I realized that I just wasn't connecting into and centered into myself in that way that I wanted to be before coming onto this portal. Actually, it really does require for me to be centered in order to be able to be here in this Keeper of Light portal. So I did take a moment just to pull the energy back to myself, because what I noticed was that my energy was being scattered. It was scattered because of the amount of outer world information that I had been engaged in that was now kind of making me um, come from being within that center point that I usually bring myself back to. So I guess that's really going to be one of the messages that I am here to share, because I figured that if it's relevant to my life, and that's really what my guides are telling me, like anything that's relevant to my life and relevant to my processes, I can share and I should share. And so the message today is really kind of centered, this word center. It's about how do you come back to center when you don't have, because the messages before I've really been talking about how everything's crumbling, and as we can see, it may not have touched your life, but at some point in time, everything that's happening, because we are at a period of time where things are kind of restructuring, then there's going to be some elements that will touch upon your lives. And so, and maybe touch upon your lives in ways that are of greater intensity than ever before. And so the question becomes, how do we handle these type of situations? Like, how do we come back to center again? How do we learn how to connect back into our higher consciousness perspectives? How do we connect into our higher levels of being so that we are more empowered in our and more at a point of connecting to our sense of empowerment? And so that's what I'm asking the guides. Okay, so time comes up. I'm hearing, okay, so time as a concept. Okay, and the fact that there are concepts. Okay, so one of the things is that, and one of the reasons why I've started this channel was because it really is about this aspect of awareness, and it is to draw awareness, and to draw awareness that we are beings who are living from this aspect of awareness, and that we can bring ourselves, when we're bringing ourselves back to our and recentering ourselves, we're in effect coming into awareness. When I first started the channel, I had it had been keepers of light, but I eventually winded up adding the word awareness into the title, because it became apparent to me that that was really what the key and center point to what transmissions of messages that were coming through. It's really just about bringing back awareness to the self, bringing back awareness to those aspects of human beingness that we have, in essence, parted from. and we're reawakening to those aspects of ourselves that do exist, even though they will not seem to, or may seem to be, impossibilities. And the fact of the matter is the mind and the training of the mind and the programmings and the way in which we have been conditioned to be may themselves appear to be overpowering when it comes to learning how to navigate the new waters that we are in, because we're in rocky waters. And so and so to recenter and to come back into your sense of higher self, to your soul's perspective, is to begin to understand that awareness is the perhaps the greatest tool that you can have. Self-awareness, awareness of how it is that you operate as a human being. I mean, it just kind of makes logical sense anyway. It's like, if you want to operate a car, then you will have to learn how to start the ignition. You have to learn how to how to back up, how to park, you have to learn how it is that you're now moving that vehicle. And it's that same sense of awareness that this channel aims to do, is to make you aware that you are able to at least understand, or begin to understand, the controls of your body. Like, you don't necessarily have to be the mechanic and know what the exact parts are and how they, or a doctor, you don't have to know all that. But what you can know is how to move yourself within these periods of time that we're in, by acknowledging that you have been moving yourself all this time. It's just that the awareness component is that what we're putting back into play. And this does require that there is a focus, an inner focus of the self. And obviously, the outer focus will always be there. That is how we're conditioned to be primarily. And so now the call is for there to be more of an internal focus, so that, and then not just that, but also too, like a stepping away from the self. Because in order to, so another aspect of awareness is becoming the observer, which is to kind of stand apart from what it is that you're looking at, and so that you can see the big and broader picture of it, versus being immersed in it. And so the other aspect is, don't be so being so immersed in your life is necessary when it is necessary. Like, if you're needing to cook dinner or drive, you have to be immersed in these situations, but you don't always have to be completely immersed in the 3D living of day-to-day life. You can step away, and you can begin to make times and spaces where you're able to view and become the observer of your own life. So the other part was about time. So with time, learning that time itself is itself a concept versus an actual reality. I've done videos of this beforehand. I've done sessions about this beforehand, and I'll post all the relevant sessions that I've done before to this recording in the description box after I've recorded this. And so with time, it only ever really exists. The past and the future, they only ever really exist within the mind, within the conceptualization of the mind. So, or like, you're thinking about the past, you can only access the past by thinking about it. You can only access the future by really thinking about it. So really, there's only now. And this is kind of like how we're going to eventually be living longer and longer lives, because we're starting to understand that if we're looking at time as a tool of creation versus as a like an actual realistic like an actual reality, then we can see how it impacts our bodies. And technically, how we age is really a component to our measuring time in that way that we are measuring moments, in that way that we are now counting um, every moment that we have existed. I mean, the same way that we celebrate birthdays is what I'm talking about. You're saying you're whatever it is that you are years old. It means that you really just have been counting and using that as a measure of existence is useful in terms of functionality, because of course this is how we kind of all got started, like with in the past when farmers would have to rely on you know um, on being able to measure when it is that they need to when they need to plant and when they need to harvest, and things of that nature. Like, I know we need time. We do need time as a tool for functionality. However, when it is used in that context that now we are over and over again counting um, moments, it then kind of creates the conditioning within the mind that now there is a distance, and that distance, like if you're running like a marathon, you're like, damn, I'm tired. So that's so that's what it is. Like, I'm tired because I've lived 50 years or 60 years or whatever it is. Your mind starts to believe that now so much time has gone by that it starts to age the vehicle, the body. Well, anyway, that's just one way of looking at it. The way that I'm really kind of painting this so that you can utilize it in your life is so that you're looking at your day-to-day experiences and bring yourself back. You can use time to bring yourself, you can use this understanding of time to bring yourself back in those moments that we're talking about, when you're creating this space in your days where you're not just observing from that far further perspective of having of not being so immersed in your reality. In those moments, you can also draw yourself back to the understanding, which is really like the awareness that there is only now. Like, there is only now. And if you can do that, then you're recentering yourself in that way that now those past beliefs and conditionings, as well as those beliefs and conditionings to what you expect of the future, that you've let go of them long enough for you to stand within this point of being distanced from that programming, so that you can now begin to make your decisions, that you can make decisions that are not based upon those past conditionings. So that's the other part to it. Let me see. Anything else? Yeah, well, the other part was really just kind of thinking about how everything is really a concept, that reality, as how we believe reality to be, is really like, reality is more like a map than it is reality. And that the only time that you're experiencing reality is really in the moment of now. And then all the other times, it's just a map that's being laid out. And in that way of understanding that everything in itself is really based upon a concept that you can come into contact with on a moment to moment basis. And when you do, at that point in time, it is real. But if you are not in contact with it, like in your present moment of awareness, then it could be said that it is just another part of the dream of reality that has been conceived of through you and through the other participants of human beings in existence. And that those are those are possibilities of beingness. And that what you do see that's reflected outside of you, although it is appearing and does have veracity, and that it is a possibility of unfolding that is occurring, it doesn't necessarily equal that this is what you have to choose to be your future unfolding of occurrence of experience. Now, okay, I'm following thought threads, so there's so many different ways that I can take topics, but the ones that are central to discussion that would help all keepers of light are really what comes through on this page, because that is my intention. And as keepers of light, we are kind of like beacons of light who are here to kind of shine the way and shine in a different variance of, to shine a different variation of light for those who are in our lives, who are meant to be in contact with us in that way that it will kind of help to spread and expand the level of light that now is expanding as a process of the ascension process, that which we all are about. So me sharing these messages is just a part of the process of me sharing the light, and so that when you receive these messages, you yourself are expanding your own light field, and you are, in essence, when you are also employing some of these ways in which these tools that I'm sharing, then you yourself are participating within this element of, with awareness, expanding the consciousness of the expansion of the earth and humanity evolution. And it's not that these things aren't happening anyway, but that if you can decide to participate at that level of awareness, then you bring yourself to a higher potential of experiencing the highest level of experience of beingness of self that you can have. And that you also put yourself at a standing point where you can decide to be within that sense of empowerment within yourself as you're approaching your life, versus being caught up in it as though you are immersed in that way that I was kind of describing as becoming the observer, as it being beneficial to become the observer. I think I kind of rushed everything, but it's because, okay, so the information comes to me more like, it's more, the best way I can put it is just more like a frequency of energy. And for me, I can read what those energies are trying to show me, and sometimes it does show up to me as an inner vision that I have to anchor to, and then from there it will kind of like branch out, and I just kind of follow that. And because I've kind of learned in my lifetime to connect certain words, because certain those words all have frequencies, then the patterning just comes out in that way that it needs to, so that it can be received uh, from you from you in the way that you are receiving it. So I'm going to just cut the video short. I'm gonna end here right now, and I hope I just didn't sound all all over the place, but I think you're gonna understand, and I hope that you all have a great day today. I know there's a lot going on, and I'm hoping and I'm wishing wellness upon everybody who is open to receiving this message. All right, talk to you soon. Until next time.